Welcome to the podcast. My guest today from Pioneer Career and Technology Center is Mr. Don Paulin. He is the Director of Adult Education. Good to see you back.
Good to be back. Thank you for having me.
We had talked a little bit off air. It's been about a year you've been in here.
Yes, yeah.
And it's usually this time of year. It's normally the April,
right
May
in
area.
The spring, springtime.
Yes, somewhere in this time on. Now, before we went on, you brought up something else. I didn't realize you had been the director of this for about 4 years.
Yeah, I came in during COVID. Kind of an interesting time. Time for higher education in general. So I think we're finally seeing the benefit or the everybody coming back. We've actually this year's been great for us. We've actually doubled our enrollment from last year. So
wow.
And I give that all to credit to the teachers that I have. They're great teachers, and they are doing a great job. And we've been seeing the results of that, the great results of that. So.
Well, idle people sitting around is not a good thing.
Right.
It's never a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't care whether it's in school, primary school, elementary school, high school. It's never good having people just drifting.
Right.
This is what I love about Pioneer. There's always something, a focus that you can do to make something out of your life and move forward, looking at options and things that you might want to consider, whatever. You guys have something wonderful called the Adult Diploma option.
So we actually have two diploma options for those that are out of high school, that maybe had to leave high school for whatever reason. Things happen in life.
Right.
Had to leave, didn't graduate, maybe didn't have enough credits, couldn't pass that last proficiency test. We have a couple different options. We have what's called the Adult Diploma, where students come to us. You could have 0 credits in high school. Doesn't matter. Maybe you dropped out in middle school. You would take one of our career tech programs like STNA or welding, phlebotomy, medical assisting, and you actually earn your high school diploma by earning that credential. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. You get your high school diploma, and you also get a credential that you can go out and start a new career, start a different path in life, whatever you need. It's great, and it's short term. Our STNA class is 2 months, 2 days a week, so it's not a huge time commitment. You're not investing, hours, full-time hours. You can work. You can come to us in the evening, get that high school diploma, and get that credential. And the great thing is it's free of charge, so that's hard to beat too. As long as you can get to us and get completed in the class, then you're going to get that diploma and the credential. So it's a great option.
Well, adult education has changed an awful lot anyhow.
Yes. Yeah.
Years ago, I had taught at another institution in teaching adults, and now the actual students that go there, the makeup of that is totally different for adults.
Yeah.
And you know that because you've been in this long enough to know that.
Yeah.
And that leads me into my next discussion with you, which is about the many changes in adult education and education in general. Maybe we could get into a nice discussion about that.
Yeah. So actually, the other option for our diploma is what's called the 22 plus, and that's kind of changing as well. So in that one, we take a look back to when you would have graduated. If you have, quite a few credits, maybe only needed a test, we can get you your diploma through that option as well. You have to go back and take those courses. But that's been a change as well. So both of those programs, the age has actually dropped to 18. So even if you are a recent, dropout or had to leave school, even the last year or two, you probably qualify to get that diploma. So we really encourage you to get out and come come get that diploma now. It's going to make, your path different. And we definitely are here to help you out with that. Some of the other changes we have going on, we're actually changing up our medical assisting program. We actually are going to shorten it a little bit and make it much more affordable. Everything in this world is going up right now. Costs are going up, everything with inflation. Our programs are actually staying the same or actually going down in the case of medical assisting. We're going to shorten it a little bit because, yes, medical assisting is very important. Yes, there's a lot of skills you need to learn. But if you look at a lot of medical assisting programs, they're very expensive. And you're not going to be making a ton of money coming out of doing that program. It's just the market right now. So we want to be mindful of that. So we're trying to, make that program much more affordable so that we get people into that program. Because it is a value, it's a need in our doctor's offices. They need those medical assistants to, make sure patients are set up, make sure they are getting the medications they need and getting the services they need. So that's one goal we're trying to make. We've also are changing up our phlebotomy program a little bit. incorporating, after talking with some of our partners like Avita, Ohio Health, we're actually going to be incorporating what's called a TLA training. So phlebotomists can actually do some testing with pregnancy tests and doing swabs and that kind of thing. So we're going to incorporate that training in as well. So it's still going to be the same time frame of a program. The cost is going to remain the same as it was last year, but you're actually going to get more training in that same amount of time.
Now, you used an acronym TLA, so
Yes.
we may
Sorry.
we may
Yeah.
want the public to understand what
So,
TLA is.
A TLA is a technical lab assistant.
Okay.
So it's taking some of the, in the industry, there's a shortage of lab techs that
Yes.
actually run the tests when you get your blood drawn. So the phlebotomists are able to pick up some of those skills, like I said, doing the swabs, running some tests like pregnancy tests, things like that the techs don't really have the time for. So it's extra training. It makes you more valuable. It makes you more marketable to those organizations. So that's something we're making a change for next year. And something we had talked about. Hopefully then that encourages maybe some more people to go into lab tech. We talked about there's, adult education it's a great path. So sometimes it's a step for people. Sometimes it's a beginning. Sometimes it's, hey, I just want to be a phlebotomist, and I'm going to be a phlebotomist for 40 years. It just depends. But hopefully by adding this technical lab assistant training, that will encourage some others to maybe go into lab techs, which are greatly needed as well.
A lot of changes.
Yes.
I went back and I said adult education, just like, for example, the amount of people that they were in classroom versus now so much online, that's a huge difference. But you still got to do labs.
Right.
That's something that can never be done outside.
Right.
If you have a certain profession's lab, you have to do that. It's a requirement for licensure and everything else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about adult education is you're going to spend 80% of your time hands-on doing skills.
Yes.
Whether it's STNA, phlebotomy, welding. I mean, you're going to spend time in that welding booth. You're not going to sit in a classroom and take notes. And there's some of that, obviously. I mean, because you got to have the background, but you're going to spend about 80% of your time using your hands, working, learning skills, because that's where it's at. That's what we want people to know. And the background knowledge is nice, but if I don't know how to draw blood effectively, or I'm stabbing people in the wrong spot or making them uncomfortable, they're not going to want to come back.
Yeah, the model has changed. I believe, now this is just my own opinion, which is probably not worth much of anything, but at this point, I'm just saying there's been so much change in education because of the reality is we need workers.
Right.
We need skilled workforce.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
state wants skilled workforce. You look at any metric you want to, your areas that are succeeding financially are ones with more educated people.
Right.
People want their education, and I like what you said about a lot of this stuff in shorter time durations.
Right.
Because a lot of people say, well, gee, I got 3 years to get this done. That seems like an eternity.
Right.
If you can say we can do this in 6 weeks or that, then maybe once they see that, well, yeah, now they got some confidence. Well, I could do 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe now I could do a program that lasts a year. Maybe I could do one that lasts several years. Maybe I want to look at other options.
Right.
It all builds, but this is the way you build confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's like you said, it's changed so much. I think people are realizing that, and it's hard. It's hard for people with kids to, like you said, commit to that 4-year, degree, and that's fine. I mean, I'm coming from somebody who has multiple degrees and has had to do it. I mean, I get it, but sometimes it's better just to start that little step, and then you take the next step, and then the next step, and eventually, you start as an STNA, and maybe you go to LPN school, and you go to RN school, and you go to BSN, and now you're 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, maybe you're a nurse practitioner. It all kind of, rolls together. And the great thing about, healthcare is they're very, those credentials are very stackable.
Yes.
I get one, I move on to the next one. And the great thing is we have a ton of partners in this area, North Central State. You can come to us, get that STNA, maybe then you go on to an RN school at North Central State, or you go on to, you take phlebotomy, go on to RN school, or you go to lab, even Marion
Options.
in this area. There's tons of options.
And this is something as well, Ty, this is one of the things this is, I guess, one of the questions we had this morning is, why would somebody want to choose to go to Pioneer Adult Ed.
Right.
Let's talk about this a little bit.
We do have great partners, but I guess personally, I think Pioneer's the best. Obviously, I mean that's why I work there. Right?
That's why you work there.
But I think we're the best. I think for Pioneer Adult Ed, I think something in my 4 years there, I've really tried to make sure we're taking care of our people. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make sure you pay as little out of pocket as possible. The great thing is all of our programs are very affordable. We have great partners here. Crawford County with Crawford County Ohio Means Jobs. Richland County, same thing. Work with Richland Foundation. There's a lot of state money available. We want you to pay as little out of pocket as possible.
Right.
That's our goal. While still providing, that doesn't mean that it's cheap. It doesn't mean that it's free. It doesn't mean that it doesn't, it's not valuable. But there's a great value in that. But that's something we want to pass on because we know people have children, people have lives, costs are going up. How can we use our resources to help you find an affordable education?
And an affordable education would leading to a career that
can pay you back without much investment.
Yeah, return on investment. It
Right.
comes back to this issue too. What am I putting in for what I'm returning? And that's very high. If you put that education in, you're going to get a real good return on your education, the money that you spend on it.
We want people focusing on getting that education, not on, how do I pay for this?
Yeah.
Can I even afford it?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. We will help you out. We will find.
There's so many options to this now that, quite honestly, probably the biggest deterrent is people, maybe their schedule,
right,
or quite frankly, they're just lack the confidence.
Right.
If you can get them over those two hurdles,
absolutely,
pretty much the money is not all that big of a problem anymore.
Right.
It's not like it used to be. I can assure you.
There's tons of money out there. We'll help you out. And I think again, choosing Pioneer Adult Education, it's not a huge. I don't want to say it's not a huge investment because it is in time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at our phlebotomy program, that's 2 days a week. For 4 hours a day. So you're putting in 8 hours a week to hopefully then take that next step in your life or your next step in your career. Welding, we have a welding class that's 4 days a week. That is a big investment, but it's for 2 months. Can you figure out 2 months to be able to get through that, without, obviously the funding, we'll take care, we're going to help you with that. So that's hopefully not an issue. But can you put that 2 months in to start a career that then can build? I can get another certification and another certification and another one. Or, we've done some work here in Crawford County with businesses on training their employees. So it's not even the company's paying for it, or we're finding some money to help the company. There's tons of resources out there to help the company. So there's just lots of options. We're going to help you figure out how to get that education and how to get that funded. All we're asking is for a little time to get through that so that then you.
We need the willingness and the commitment on the part of that student.
Right.
If you're willing to do that, I can assure you, you can move
forward. There's a path. Yep.
There's a path. There's a way.
Yep.
And I'd say for the most part, the financing is going to be there.
Right.
But you need to walk through the door.
Right.
And
if you can commit to that time, we'll get you there. And that's, I think, again, that's kind of why I choose that. I talked earlier, our instructors. We have the best instructors. I mean, bar none. Our instructors are the best. We feel that they're the best. They have a great rate as far as, passing those credentials. Mm-hmm. They have the experience in the field. That's why you choose Pioneer Adult Education. That value and that education you're going to get.
Well, Don Pollan, I thank you, the Adult Education Director at Pioneer Career and Technology Center located over in Shelby.
In Shelby, yep.
In the big city of Shelby.
Yes.
Thanks for being the guest today on the podcast. I hope we motivated some people today to take some action because if they do, their life will be, I can assure you, will be much better.
Yeah, check out go2pioneer.com.
There you go.
The number 2pioneer.com and click on adult education at the top. You can see our new programs and what's going on. And if you have any questions, give us a call or reach out to us through the website.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.